Welcome to Unjustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and sometimes very unpopular opinion. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe now and hit the notification bell, and that way you will receive all of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for being here, and we do hope you enjoy today's video. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Team Unjustified, April. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Who all do we have in here with us tonight?
We have Ree from Denmark.
All right.
We have Michelle in. Of course, Dave, me, you.
Awesome.
And some others that haven't commented yet, I can see.
Right. And any of you that are watching that are not subscribers, I want to thank you as well for watching with us tonight. As most of you know, my channel got hacked on Sunday, and I was freaking out. Dave and Nellie right there by my side. Oh my goodness, pulling me straight out of it. And then I was able to mess with YouTube, Google, all that, finally get it fixed back up. And I know Dave and Nellie, being the awesome that they are, let you guys know. I think the channel's pretty, I haven't noticed any of my videos gone, but I did have to reset them all. I had to rebuild the front page, all that kind of stuff. And that took till, goodness, at least Wednesday morning to try to get all that together. And that's why this What's Wednesday is belated, because I didn't have the opportunity to get started on it till yesterday evening. And with Dave and Nellie helping me, sending me stuff, helping me find things, even though, you know, it's just, it looks short, you know, it took a good, like, y'all, 2 days to get it all together for tonight.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean, we're very, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, OCD, anal is the word I use, about if we say it, we like to show it. You know, we don't want to throw anything out there. Yeah. We don't want to throw anything out there that we can't back with proof. Now, unless we're saying it's our opinion, our theory, or whatever. Even with that, we're going to show you why we got that, you know, why we have this feeling, because we back those with facts as well. So, yeah. All the way from Uncensored on Facebook. Wow. Thank you, April. I truly appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. So
welcome, Michelle Gardner.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Oh, here's Mary now.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary. It's always nice to see Mary too. She's an OG. So we have I mean, it's like a 30-minute or so clip. We're going to be stopping in between. We're just going to be trying to show the different things. As all of you know, as you see the banner on the bottom here, Nicole Atkinson, you know, is a hero. She did help get things moving, and she was there for Shanann and this and that and the other. And I get that. We're not trying to take anything from her at all. But we do want to point out that she wasn't the only hero here, okay? She was the closest one, so she was able to actually be there in the flesh. But the one that was afar, it's like you never hear any recognition from her. I mean, I even get literally jumped sometimes in comments when I say, well, no, Nicole was not the one that knew the phone password. Oh, yes, she was. No, she wasn't. So, you know, it's things like that. It's things like who got the ball rolling, who got the shit going. And that's what we hope we can bring to you tonight and show you without you having to read the whole discovery, watch every interview, which that's what we've done for the last couple of days, putting this together. to show you. And the next time you hear there's one hero, I would love for you to come back and say, no, there's actually two. Cassie deserves recognition. I mean, am I right, Dave, Nellie?
Yes.
Oh, definitely. We're not here to discredit Nicole Atkinson at all. It's just that a lot of things happened that is in the discovery and in the text messages. And I guess depending on how you look at it, it may look like we're trying to trash her or go after her, but we're not.
No, we're just trying
No,
to.
not at all.
There's
just-
a lot of things that had been said, especially with Rourke. In the
Yes.
best interest of the public, he will not be releasing a lot of things. So that there is, like, to me, a red flag. But I guess the whole thing is that Casey really does need to be shone a little light on, because if it wasn't for her, honestly, I don't think any of this would have come about. I honestly
Definitely
think
not as fast, no.
no, Nicole probably would have went back to bed and then got up a couple hours later and then maybe got the ball rolling. I don't know.
Well, she did
But-
say that she just rolled back over and went to sleep because she figured she was
That's right.
tired, you know, so. And a lot of that is overlooked in the discovery. Like, even if you listen to my read through, like, let's be honest, I mean, so much of it is boring as hell. We fall asleep and you miss a lot, right? I mean, you just do, but unless you're the one sitting here reading it, and you're not missing it. So I know it's there,
Mhm.
but people seem to not know some of these things is there. And I think they need to be, I think you need to look at the whole case, the case as a whole.
Well, it's
know.
just like the two of us last night where I was pointing out things, and you've read that thing over and over and over again, and you actually forgot about it too. So
Yes,
it
because
happens.
it's one little sentence. And why?
Yeah.
That should have been extremely important, but it was like hidden in like the middle of the discovery, and it's just
Right.
one little sentence.
Yeah.
So I was like telling you, Dave, I don't remember that. Like, I read this whole discovery how many times? But like, if I'm in the middle of reading it out loud, I'm just by that point, usually I'm just a robot, reading words or whatever. And with it being one sentence, it was easily overlooked. And when you were telling me it's there, and I said, it's not. And Dave, you're right. We're going to look at it in here, and I may not be the only one that overlooked that. I can't tell you how many times I've read that discovery. And I couldn't even, I finally found it. One little sentence, man. Are you serious? That should have been the highlight, the beginning, before even anything. But no, it was way down. They'll see what we're talking about in just a minute.
With that would change their narrative. So they couldn't have it at the start. They had to have that in the middle.
Dave, that's
That's
right.
exactly why they did that.
It makes so much sense now.
Mm-hmm.
It just does. Because it coincides perfectly with that alarm.
Right. Like,
and it was
even
just
with
threw in there.
that stupid doll pic, they put the narrative out there that was Chris that sent it. No, it wasn't.
I
But
know.
again, they had to change the narrative to make it look like, he had thought about doing this, and that's their narrative. So
Right.
Are you talking about the doll with a sheet over it?
yeah.
Yeah, and the
Oh, yeah,
average
another-
person obviously is just going to read what it says, and they're not going to look at images, look at timelines, look at who was where, and check. They're not going to do that. They're just going to go with whatever it says. Right? And when they do that, there's where the misinformation, the confusions, there's where it comes in. And yeah, that's why we're here. Awareness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're doing this. Believe me.
So next time you go through a Facebook group, hopefully you won't get beat up. And another thing is hopefully you won't see that it was just NA as the hero. that Cassie had a really big part of this. So
huge. I mean, they even stayed with them for a while. Spent the night in their home, was going to be moving in with them.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
she knew a lot about what was going on. Shanann
Well,
confided in her a lot.
Yeah. Well, that Monday morning, her husband phoned Chris and said, or asked if they were still on because he didn't know they were missing yet.
Yeah, I've got that in here too. I mean, that's in the folder, but yeah, I did the best I could to get it all. And actually, I know I'm going to be missing things, and Dave or Nellie will call it out. I'm sure, I know they will, but I done the best I could. So we'll work with what I got. Let me get this pulled up here for us. We're going to start with this little clip about the different things, talking about the hero. And there again, Cassie's never mentioned, which I find unfortunate. Cassie, since these deaths, has sat down with 2 or 3 or maybe more. The Friends Speak, the newest Netflix. She's in not Netflix. What is it? Hulu?
Yeah, Hulu.
Yeah, she's in that. She's in several of them. But at the same time, she's still out there talking about her friend, right? But then I know the only 2 that I know that Nicole Atkinson done was like immediately, like I'm talking about within the week, was she did a clip on Good Morning America and Dateline. And I believe that's it. Now I could be wrong, but that's the only ones I have seen.
Yeah, that's the only 2 I've seen also.
Yeah. And I've got a little small clip of the Good Morning America one. The Dateline one, I literally did not feel like spoofing the background music out. It took me too long to spoof the background music out of Tammy. So,
you know, the weird thing about that too, with her interviews, it seemed really weird. Like if you go to Cassie, it was more her talking about her friend. Okay. And as to Nicole Atkinson, even through her police interviews, she's still pushing Thrive. And it just, it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, and I literally cut that out. That's not going to be in here because, look, we ain't got 2 hours to sit here and listen to that kind of stuff. So I cut all that out, and I will link in the description box below if you guys have not heard her entire interview or her son's. I think that's the only 2 interviews I've got in here, parts of them. But if you haven't heard those, I'm going to link them down below. And after this live, you can go listen to them as a whole. But what I did is I clipped what I thought was the most important as far as what we're talking about tonight into this. So, okay, but I'm going to go ahead and get this started. If you hear my birds, I'm sorry, but I love my birds. They keep me company in here. Yeah, they do get loud sometimes, but I'm going to mute and I'm going to play this. When I get to my part reading on the discovery, I'm going to speed it up a little because I do talk slow. And even though it's not that long, we'll we can move on through this a little bit quicker. Stay in the comments. If you've got any questions, we're going to be looking at those as this plays. We'll stop it and we'll see what we can do to answer any questions or whatever. Okay.
Now I'm going to mute you, but hi, Tony, and hi, Kez. Good to see you guys here. And I'm going to mute now.
I think she was absolutely instrumental. The fact that she made phone calls to the Frederick Police Department within several hours of this act and this disappearance, I think only benefited law enforcement. Though she's obviously here, and I want to extend our thanks to you for that very timely response, and thank you for all you've done.
George, that friend says her last goodbye to Shanann Watts was right here outside the family home. But when police later arrested Chris Watts for allegedly murdering his wife and 2 daughters, she says she was not shocked. Nicole Atkinson says she knew something wasn't right. 2 a.m. Monday, she says she drops her friend Shanann Watts at home from a late business trip.
She went inside, turned around and waved at me and shut the door. He wasn't being the loving Chris that he normally was. He wasn't touching or hugging or doing stuff like that.
Did she suspect he might have been cheating?
I think she entertained the idea, yes.
The unsung hero whose determination may have stopped Chris Watts from getting away with murdering his pregnant wife and 2 little daughters. Nicole Atkinson knew something was wrong when her best friend, Shanann Watts, didn't turn up for a doctor's appointment. She immediately called police, but thanks to Nicole, her phone's here? Her phone's here. She also discovers Shanann's purse.
Her purse is her medication. She takes these, her medication's still in here.
Nicole is clearly worried. She knows something is wrong. Watts tries to avoid making eye contact with her. Because of Nicole, his story is already falling apart.
You see, my name's Nicole, and I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine. We were preparing for a murder trial, and a murder trial that was going to last years. And all of a sudden, I receive a phone call from Detective Baumhofer, and he said, "Hey, Chris is going to plead guilty to all charges." Oh, wait, like, we're not done. We have all these things to do. We didn't examine all the evidence. We didn't interview every witness we needed to. We didn't do all of these things that you would do in a normal investigation because he stopped the clock. We were relieved that it was going to be over, but at the same time, we felt like, in a sense, we didn't finish. We were all left with the fact that the story was not over. All struggled with the fact that we didn't know what the truth was. By pleading guilty, he had admitted that he had murdered his entire family, but he had never told us what really happened to Bella and Celeste that night. Flew to Wisconsin, where Chris was being held, and have one last conversation with him. I needed to hear him say that Shanann did not murder her children.
Okay, so this part, I'm going to speed up. Y'all got anything to say about that little clip right there, though?
Well, there's a lot of garbage in there because a lot of things didn't happen, so, but you can go ahead with your next clip, and then when you're done there, then we can talk.
Okay. This first part of the discovery here, I believe I have mostly is all about Cassie and how she really was the one that got this ball rolling. This is all in the discovery. So, feel free to fact check it, but it's there. All right, here we go.
Hi, sweet pea.
Near the end of the interview with Nick, Nicole offered information regarding an app named Live 360 that maps the phone's location and movements. Nicole explained that her phone shows specific locations and times from the time that they left Arizona through Nicole and Nick's activities. Nicole agreed to send screenshots of her activity. They got into the car at 1:28 a.m. at the Denver airport. Then she did not get back out of her car again until 2:10 a.m. when she arrived at her own home. After dropping Shanann off at her house at 1:48 a.m., Nikki arrived home at 2:10 a.m. She did not leave again until 10:41 a.m. At 10:41 a.m., Nicole gets in her car, takes a 60-mile drive to Shanann's house. This drive takes her 30 minutes. She arrives at Chris and Shanann's house at 11:11 a.m. At 12:20 p.m., she leaves Chris and Shanann's house and she drives to the OB clinic to see if Shanann did indeed show up for her appointment, which she did not. This drive took her 26 minutes. When Shanann did not post after getting home, Cassie knew that was not like Shanann at all. Cassie said that if Shanann would have gone somewhere with the kids, that she would never leave without EpiPens. Cassie said that Shanann just would not leave, period. Chris said Shanann's friend Cassie is a nurse, and she noticed that she had low blood sugar while they were in Arizona. This was the interview with Karen Epps. Karen does live in Colorado. Karen says she was not even aware that there was any marital problems between Shanann and Chris until she learned from Cassie when she called looking for Shanann. Karen told me that Shanann seemed off all weekend in Arizona. Cassie, Nicole, and Shanann shared a room in Arizona, and Shanann had confided in them. Before going to Arizona, Shanann had an ultrasound that revealed the gender of the baby. Nicole Atkinson knew the gender and planned a gender reveal party. Shanann asked Nicole to tell her the gender because she felt like Chris was going to leave her and she needed to feel happy. Chris and Shanann decided to have their own gender reveal ceremony together. On Monday morning, when Cassie had not heard from Shanann, she talked with Nicole on the phone. And being that Nicole was in Colorado, Cassie asked if she would go over and look at Shanann's house. Cassie was on the phone with Nicole while she was doing this, using the camera on the phone for video. Shanann's car was there in the garage, and Shanann was not answering. They grew concerned about Shanann's health. Nicole tried the code to the front door, but there was an internal door latch that prevented entry. The latch was there as Shanann was worried that the kids would open the door. Shanann's shoes were by the door, which was normal. Cassie immediately started texting Chris. She told Chris that Nicole was at their house, and they were concerned about Shanann. Chris told Nicole that he and Shanann were getting separated, and told her that Shanann was fine. He told Nicole to leave the house. Cassie and Nicole knew Shanann had an OB appointment, and Nicole went to the office to see if Shanann had made it to her appointment, which she had not. Cassie and Nicole decided that they needed to call the police. Cassie texted Chris to get him to go to the house and told him they were calling the police. He insisted they were getting separated and things were okay. Cassie told Chris to get his ass to the house. Chris called Cassie, and it sounded like he was driving. Chris told Cassie not to call the police. He said he did not want the police involved. He told Cassie that he was sure Shanann was fine. Cassie warned Chris that if he was not there in 30 minutes, she was calling the police. Nicole's son was going around the house trying to find an access point to go in and look for Shanann. 20 minutes passed, and Cassie finally told Nicole to go ahead and call the police. They were wasting valuable time if Shanann was indeed inside needing help. Police arrived, and it had been 45 minutes. Chris should have already been there, in Cassie's opinion, with him driving from work, before police were about. Thank you so much for becoming a member, Lauren. We truly appreciate the extra support to the channel. So far, we've already seen or heard that Cassie is the one that got the ball rolling on this morning, right?
Yes.
I mean, you've already heard that. She is the one that called Nicole, asked Nicole to go over there, told Nicole to call the law, call the police, all this stuff, right? So at this point, you've already heard that. I mean, so you know, she literally is the one that started the whole thing that day. Although I never hear her getting recognition for that. And I'm always the type of person that believes, you know, everyone needs to be appreciated for what they do. And I never hear it for her.
No,
I
even
find that-
sharing her photos like in the Facebook groups, people are always asking, well, who is that? You know, but
Yeah, I
right
know.
away they know who Nicole Atkinson is.
Yeah, and I don't think Cassie even does Thrive anymore. I looked at her Facebook, which she's not even with that Josh guy anymore. I mean, from what I could tell, she's not even with him anymore. But, yeah, she's not doing Thrive anymore. So, or if she is, she damn sure isn't putting it all over her Facebook. It's
No.
something else she's working with. So, yeah. But anyway, I wanted to pause real quick and thank Lauren for becoming a member, and we'll start it right back.
Before you do, I was wondering, does everybody know that Tammy Lee, while she's CBI'd, if they knew that she is now head of CBI? And a weird thing about that is that she actually should have been fired, because the day that, or the evening, I should say, that Chris confessed to killing Shanann in a roundabout way, because all he said was, I did to her what she did to the kids. And then they had to put in his mouth, what, strangle her, suffocate her, whatever, you know.
Yeah,
And all
boy,
he did
that
is say
strangling
yes.
was talked about a hell of a lot before Chris ever said it.
That's
And
right.
not just by Tammy Lee either. And
Right.
you'll hear that, everybody will hear that in a minute, which is very bizarre to me.
Well, the thing about that, though, is Tammy Lee, she goes home knowing that Chris said that Shanann killed the girls. But then she goes home and talks to her husband, and they go into a Facebook group right away. I think there was over 20,000 members in it. And she went in there and told them that Chris killed everybody. And then the following day for the arraignment, That was the same thing that was said, that he killed everybody, but yet
Yeah.
he only confessed in a half-ass way that he only killed Shanann.
Yeah.
So
Well,
with
even
her,
Tammy, you just heard Tammy say that. No, we still got investigation. We haven't even investigated yet.
that's right. But with her, once she did that, I think FBI cut her off to what was actually going on behind the scenes. And that's why her and, well, of course, Frederick would be cut off because
Yeah.
the FBI doesn't share nothing with anybody. So,
No.
but
That's
sorry.
right. No,
Go
no.
ahead.
I mean, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought it up. Nellie, you got anything to add to that, sweetheart?
No.
He pretty much hit that on the head, didn't he?
He did.
He did. He always does. I mean, our comments are always like, talking about Dave and because he knows the case, he was telling me about that other thing and I was like, no, it ain't. And he's like, yes, it is. Yeah, he was right. It's in here too. All right. To bust down the door and make entry to check on Shanann, Chris was reached by phone and denied entry as he was right around the corner. When Chris arrived, the police, Chris, and Nicole went in to check for Shanann. Shanann's phone was located. Cassie insisted that Shanann would have never left her phone and would have never left the kids' medication in the cupboard if she left the house. Cassie said that Shanann would post for Chris on his Facebook, and he never posted. He deleted his Facebook account while Shanann was in North Carolina, and we know that is not true, but it was soon after he arrived home. Actually, it was on August the 11th, I believe. Cassie thought that Chris probably cheated on Shanann and deleted his account because of that. Shanann was looking forward to the first day of school on August the 13th. She tried to change her flight to arrive home earlier, but it was going to be $300 more. Shanann said she was going to be exhausted. Cassie said that Chris was never involved in matters such as contacting the kids' school. Only Shanann handled contacting the school. Primrose is a very nice school, and Shanann fought hard to get the kids into it. She would never risk losing their spot by not showing up for the first day. Cassie said that Chris did not sound worried when she was talking to him on the phone on August the 13th. She was trying to get him to go home and going to the house to check on Shanann. Cassie said that she was cussing him out, trying to get him to go in there. Cassie said that Chris later that day called her husband, Josh, to ask if he looked bad in the situation. Josh told him that he does and encouraged him to cooperate and to give police his cell phone and his truck. He asked Josh if he should go to work the next day or now, and Josh told him it was up to him, but probably not since his wife and kids were missing. Josh and Cassie decided that something was wrong and that Chris was not the guy that they knew. While they were in Scottsdale, Arizona, Shanann had said that Chris agreed to go to counseling. Shanann started looking for a counselor and sent Cassie a list of these counselors in her insurance network to help Shanann decide on which one to go to. Shanann said she wanted to find an ugly dude counselor because she was so insecure given the problem she and Chris were having. When Cassie was asked about Shanann and Chris's finances, she said that they did not really have money rolling in, but Shanann did not ever speak of financial problems either. Cassie said she never saw Shanann ordering from a menu based upon the price alone. Before San Diego in June of 2018, Shanann had hit the 80K mark at LaBelle. Chris was working out and running a lot more. He runs around the neighborhood. Cassie thought he had a gym membership, but she did not know where. Shanann got him weights and elliptical for the house. Cassie said that Shanann wore the pants in the family. Cassie knew that Shanann would flip out if Chris opened the garage door in the morning because the girls were light sleepers, and she did not want the door to wake them. He used the front door to leave for work in the morning. Sunday, August the 12th, 2018, at 1:38 p.m. Shanann sends a list of counselors to Cassie. Monday morning, August the 13th, 2018, at 9 a.m. Cassie texts Shanann asking how she is doing and gets no reply. Again, Monday morning, August the 13th, 2018, at 10:03 a.m. Cassie texts Shanann again that she is worried and still gets no reply. Going back, this is a text between Cassie, Nicole, and Shanann. August the 8th, 2018, 9:52 a.m. Shanann asks Nicole to tell her the sex of the baby, saying that she needs happy news. They arrange for Nicole to tell Shanann in person, and Cassie wants to FaceTime it with them. Shanann tells Nicole to come early and that she is up at 6. Nicole asks what time Chris leaves, and Shanann replies, dude, I need 6. 6, but come whenever, in the a.m., just not 11. Nicole asks, well, what is 11? And Shanann replied, that's too long. Shanann says that she cannot afford 3 kids alone in Colorado. Cassie and Nicole encouraged Shanann, and Shanann told them that she loved them. They started chatting about Cassie and Josh moving into the house with Shanann. Shanann says that the house is in Chris's name. They discussed that the court would make them sell it before Chris just gets it. They encouraged Shanann further. Shanann replied that masturbating is an awesome stress reliever with a laughing and an I don't know emoji. Thursday, August the 9th, 2018, 8:49 p.m. Colorado time. Cassie asked Shanann and Nicole how they're doing. Shanann replied that Chris wants to move to Brighton. Shanann texts Nico Lee Watt, and she spells it Niko. But we are not telling the world until Monday. Tonight has been the best talk ever. And then the text started about their Arizona travel. Monday, 12:25 a.m., August the 13th, 2018, Shanann text landed, and she puts 3 sleeping emojis. More text between Cassie and Chris. Monday, 11:43 a.m., August the 13th. Cassie texts Chris to tell him she is worried and knows that they're having problems, but she has never seen Shanann so broken to the extent that she is worried. She went to a friend's house with kids. She won't tell me where, though. When I get home, I will update you. Cassie tells Chris that her car and shoes and everything is at the house. She asks what is going on, that she would totally shut out everything, saying this is not like her. Chris replies saying, I told Nikki about it so she wouldn't freak out anymore at the house. I think Christina knows as well. We talked last night and I told her I wanted to sell the house and get something smaller. Separation would be best right now if we can work through the issues. I really don't want you to think I'm a bad person, Cassie. Cassie replied that she did not care, but she was worried about Shanann's well-being. She told Chris that Nikki was calling the police due to their concern. August the 13th, 1:05 p.m. Chris replied, I'm going home, Cassie. On my way. Don't call the police. I will be there in 45 minutes. Josh Rosenberg, Cassie's husband's interview. Josh was asked if he had considered that Chris had planned anything like this. Josh said that Chris is a very smart guy, and if he had planned it out, he would not have gotten caught. I asked if it was possible that Chris had not considered that Shanann's friends would have been actively looking for her Monday morning. Josh felt like Chris would have planned for that, had he considered or thought about it or planned for more than 2 hours before he did it. Josh feels that Chris did not plan this and that it was in the heat of the moment. Chris knew his truck had GPS in it and he had told Josh about it, and he did not use it for his personal things. Chris knew that Shanann was attached to her phone and that she is the type who responds immediately to text. Cassie also wanted to make sure and let investigators know that there was an Amazon Alexa in the Watts' house. I assured her that that was known and thanked her and encouraged her to reach out with other thoughts or information that comes to her. Nicole's son, Nick, announced that he had located Shanann's phone, and Chris put his hand out and said thanks. Officer Coonrod asked Chris if he could access the phone to see if Shanann had texted someone and left. Nick said that Chris didn't know, or he pretended that he didn't know Shanann's password at first, but he eventually accessed it using numbers corresponding to their unborn child's birth date. Nicole said Cassie suggested using the birth date. Nicole said that both Cassie and Sandy were on speakerphone at one point while they were going through the house. So there, Cassie is the one that knew the code to Shanann's phone. I have had so many people come at me and say, no, it was Nicole that knew the code. No, it wasn't. It was Cassie. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I think Nellie should go first this time.
It's very, very obvious. Even though Cassie didn't have a huge part in the discovery, like, of course, there's more to it than what I put here, but it's just randomness. But even though she didn't have a huge part in the discovery, she had a huge part in the case.
Well, one thing about this, the whole thing, is if Rourke would have even read the discovery, he would have seen that Cassie had more of a role to play in it and would have actually addressed talking to her instead of everything going, surrounding Nicole Atkinson.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, it's because Nicole was there in the flesh. But at the same time, if you're watching the cam footage, you can see that she's on the phone the entire time.
Yes.
And from what Cassie says, and a lot of the stuff Nicole says, is she's being led and basically told what to do. She even said that in her own interview. She said, well, I'm the only one here. So, even if she was working from afar, she was still playing a huge part of getting the ball rolling here. Huge. Like, she cussed Chris out. The little bit they got in the discovery in the report doesn't even touch how she really cussed him out. Like, I've got those screenshots. She jumped his ass. I mean, she did. She didn't even play. She didn't play no games. She got on him.
See, even with that too, like you were like at the start there, you're talking about the 360 app and showed that Nicole Atkinson didn't leave till 11.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's when she went back home because she had already been out and about.
I know, but and I found in the discovery where she, what we were talking about. What I found odd again is, like I said, it was just one little sentence, and
Yeah.
even in her interview, when she told her story, so many times she has never ever mentioned.
Nope. No, it's not. It
Verbally.
doesn't fit their alternative ending again. So
I know,
their
it's
narrative
like
doesn't fit it.
it's like, what is the deal, man? It's in the discovery. Yeah, I admit I missed it. I missed that little sentence, but it's there. And it was so easy to miss because she never says it. It's never said in any interview. It's never mentioned. Yet the only thing corresponding with that time is that door alarm.
Mm-hmm. And we'll come to all that there shortly. But no,
Yeah.
there's just so many things. Like even with NA in her interview, they asked how long she knew Shanann, and she said 4 years, 4 years, and
Yeah.
it's impossible because Sandy actually worked for Nicole Atkinson, and she went and introduced Nicole to Shanann on, what was it, Cece's first birthday party.
His first birthday, and then it took them a while to even like each other after
Yeah,
that. And
because
Cece had just turned 3.
right. So if you look,
But
that's 2 years at best,
yeah,
not 4.
it just doesn't add up. Like, you're
No.
right. You're right. I never even thought about it that way, but she did. She said, I don't know, 3, 4 years when Bella was a baby. And when you meet, well, it was on Cece's birthday party. And
Yep.
I know that's true because, I've already heard about it from Cindy. But at the same time, Cece had just turned 3, like
Mm-hmm.
just turned 3.
Just turned 3.
So, yeah, so there's no way, from her own words that she knew her longer than just right at 2 years. And
Right.
even through her own words, as well as Cindy's and other people that knows them, it took them a while before they really started, jiving together. Even Nicole said when she started selling Thrive is pretty much when Shanann kind of warmed up to her.
Well, even with that, Shanann didn't want her to be a promoter. She just wanted her to buy the stuff. And it was Nicole that pushed herself onto Shanann saying, no, I want to make money. I want to do this too.
Yeah, she says that. She's like, yeah, Shanann wanted me to just buy it from her. She's like, no, if I'm going to use it, I want to make money do it. Yeah, that's in her interview.
Yeah. But no, the interview with her and then with her and her son, Nick, they're just contradicting each other all the way through from one interview to the next on what actually happened and what they said. So it just doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. There's so much contradiction. I mean, there's so much there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we just put together a little bit of it to show tonight, but there's a lot there.
And we'll come to the good stuff at the end.
Yeah, and again, we're not trying to diss anyone or anything. We're just trying to put pieces of the puzzle together, and it's hard when people, I don't know another way to say it except changing of stories. That's the only way I know to say it.
Right. I don't know.
Right.
If everything was true the way that was said, they wouldn't have to keep on changing their stories. So it's like somebody's hiding something again and again and again.
Yeah, it's
and
just
you
so
go back
weird.
to the very first interview of anybody even at Anadarko, I think there was only one person that didn't lie through the whole thing. So I don't know how they're supposed to investigate, but then again, they don't have to because FBI and work knows exactly what happened. It just they didn't share it with anybody else. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, Nellie said she'll be right back. She's having a little bit of problems with her phone.
Yeah, I had an
I-
update on mine, and everything is all
Yeah, mine
wonky now.
too.
So
Yeah, same. Okay, let me start this on Nicole. On Nicole's part of the discovery. And of course, Nicole's got a pretty good bit in the discovery. But of course, I just got, what I thought was relative to what we're talking about tonight. On August 13th, 2018, at approximately 1340 hours, that would be 1:40 p.m., Officer Coonrod was dispatched to 2825 Saratoga Trail on a reported check well-being. Nicole Atkinson called about her friend Shanann Watt, and Nicole stated that she had dropped Shanann off at around 1:48 a.m. that morning. Nicole stated Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant and she was not feeling well. She had dropped her off after her business flight from Arizona. Shanann was not answering phone calls or texts, and she had missed her doctor's appointment. Nicole and her son, Nicholas Atkinson, went to Chris and Shanann's home and observed that Shanann's car was not in the garage. The vehicle still had child seats inside of it, and Nicole attempted to enter the front door, but it had a latch, which prevents you from opening more than 3 inches. Nicole had called Shanann's husband, Chris, and requested that he come home and check on Shanann. Nicole stated that Shanann was diabetic, but was not known to have seizures or to ever black out. During the briefing, Detective Baumhofer advised us that on Monday, August the 13th at 1:36 p.m., the Frederick Police Department received a call for a welfare check, 2825 Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado. The reporting party for the welfare check was Nicole Atkinson. She advised that she was concerned for her friend Shanann Watts, who lived at this residence with her husband and their 2 daughters. Atkinson told police that her friend was pregnant and had known medical conditions such as diabetes and lupus. Detective Baumhofer advised officers responded to the residence and contacted Atkinson, who said that she had not heard from Shanann the entire day, which was unusual. Atkinson explained that she and Shanann had been in Arizona for 3 days, August the 10th through the 12th, attending a Thrive conference, and she had dropped Shanann off at her residence shortly before 2 a.m. on Monday, August the 13th, 2018. Atkinson further explained to police that she knew Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled doctor's appointment at 10 a.m. that morning. Atkinson said she went to Shanann's doctor's office and was informed that Shanann never showed up for her appointment. Atkinson said that she then went over to Shanann's residence and tried the keypad on the front door. Atkinson said the door unlocked, but she was unable to open it because of the interior door latch that was locked. After reviewing the GPS data, I called Atkinson and asked her if she would come to the police department for an interview. Atkinson seemed bothered and advised that she was getting ready to go to work. She then agreed to call her work and said that she would drive to the Frederick Police Department with me. A few minutes later, I got a call from Atkinson, who was extremely angry and asked me repeatedly if she was going to be charged with a crime if she came to the police department. I explained to her that we learned new information and we were just trying to find Shanann and the children. She said that she had already given multiple statements to the police, and I informed her that we would prefer a recorded interview. At that point, a male started yelling in the back that she had already spoke with the police and would not be coming in. Nicole stated that it was not that she didn't want to help, but her employer could not find anyone to cover her shift. I asked her if I could speak with her at her place of employment, and she agreed. She explained that she was a CNA, a certified nursing assistant, and she worked at Mesa Vista Nursing Home in Boulder, Colorado. She stated that she would be working until 6 a.m., and I could meet her anytime during her shift. CBI agent Greg Zenter responded to Boulder to speak with Nicole Atkinson. Also, Nicole had made a call at 9 a.m. as well, very soon after Cassie had called her, and this is probably that they done like on a group call, because they were on group calls most of the day. But Monday, August the 13th at around 9 a.m., Tricia Cochran said that she took a call from a person identifying herself as Nicole Atkinson. She was requesting a well-being check, and that call was transferred to the Weld County Communications. There it is, Dave. And you see how small that is?
Very small.
It's one little sentence, like, and it's at the very top, so it's something that you would just read out, or whatever. Yeah, that's it. And that should have really been pointed out a lot more. Nicole should have even thought about saying it herself. It's like that 9 a.m. thing right there is like brushed under the rug or something, because 9 a.m., there's another incident in this discovery that happened at 9 a.m. There's actually two. One of them is Nicole Kessinger saying, "What about that 9 a.m. thing?" And then there's the garage door alarm.
Yeah, that
That's
Nicole thing, that was her dad. That was Dwayne saying,
yeah, that's
what
right.
about that 9 a.m. thing? And then
Yeah,
Nicole interrupted
got
him and
back
said,
to
"Well,
it.
come back to that later." But they never, ever did.
Right. So there is three things in the discovery that points directly at 9 a.m. Monday morning.
And that's what bothers me the most with, well, my opinion on what I think actually happened because of that 9 a.m. and
Yeah.
because of the purse and because of the cell phone, so, but then again, it goes back to Rourke not wanting to release that front doorbell footage. It took
Right.
a little over 6 months to get what we did get. And even then, there's no timestamp or nothing on it saying what date or time that took place. So,
Yeah.
Well, since this case is closed, why don't they release it?
because this case could be reopened if somebody opened up their mouth, is what the problem is. That's why Rourke would not give Chris's
phone back.
back to Ronnie, because he said, well, in case of appeal. But
That's
face
such
it, he
horseshit.
probably took that thing and threw it in a incinerator, because
I'm
what's
sure
on
he
that
did.
is very damaging to Rourke's whole case.
Yeah. I don't know. This whole 9 a.m. check well-being, this is it. This is all you hear about it. This is all you see about it. You don't hear it ever mentioned again.
No, and that's
And
what bothers me the most. Because,
yeah.
well, in my opinion, I honestly do think that Nicole Atkinson did go through that front door between
Well,
8 and 8:30 in the morning.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean,
once she went in there and saw nobody was there, I really do think she phoned Sandy, because how else would Sandy know to call the school at 8:30 to see if the girls were there?
yeah, but
Why is it
there's
that Sandy never
again, there's another
called?
contradiction. There's
That's
another
right.
with her own interview. She said that she didn't call Sandy until Coonrod was already there, and she didn't even know what was going on. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
That's right. That's
What?
garbage.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is.
Because that
Because
360
Sandy had already
app,
called the school
yeah.
and
if
Chris.
if you figure, if she did go through that front door at 8:30, and saw that nobody's there, saw that her cell phone was there, her purse was there, and phoned Sandy, what did she do? It's like she goes and puts the front latch on the door, and you have your 9 o'clock alert that went to Shanann's phone saying about the garage door. Okay, so if she left out through the garage and then goes outside and then calls for this wellness check that's been swept underneath the cupboard and everything else, then that there would all be taking out of their narrative on what actually happened. And that'd be
Right.
a really good reason for Rourke not wanting to release in the public interest any more doorbell footage. Because on her phone, I don't remember if it was Addie or Cassie that had called Shanann's phone, and it said that Shanann was driving. Well, how in the hell could she be driving if her phone was supposed to be upstairs in the sofa cushions? And again, there's Nick, NA's son, finding that phone under 3 minutes of being in the house. And then with her purse, everybody's through the whole house, can't find nothing. everybody goes over to Nate's house to look at the video. And then when everybody's coming back after Dave gets there, then all of a sudden, like, you have Chris upstairs with Dave, and all of a sudden in the camera, through the body cam, you can actually see Nick going into the kitchen with Shanann's purse, putting it on the counter, and then
Yeah.
getting the heck out of there. But
Yeah.
yet everything said like that happens there. It's like, oh, there's Shanann's purse, according to NA. Okay. But you don't find out until afterwards. In her interview, she goes that, yeah, I passed by it. I don't know how many times it was by the office door. And then she said that she gave it to Chris and he put it on the counter, but that's all lies again. So, and then again, she said that.
Well, Chris wasn't even back over there yet, was he?
No,
Or
he
I
was
didn't
upstairs
see.
still with Dave.
Yeah, I didn't see. Yeah.
You know, so, and then she said, oh yeah, all her prescriptions are there too, but they weren't. One was missing.
Yeah,
The
I've
one
got
for
that.
headache.
Yeah. I mean, I've got that little clip in this, but yeah, there's just so much that just doesn't go together. Like, it contradicts itself, and you're like, you don't know, I mean, the only thing you can do is just look at all the contradictions and try to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, oh my God.
Again, it's easier to tell the truth than it is to lie, because you got to cover up one lie with another. And this is where all the problems that we're getting is that nobody can keep their story straight. And even if it, like, I swear that she had absolutely nothing to do with the murders at all. It just that,
No.
I guess her actions, if it was from, concern for Shanann, if she, like, I don't know if she really did go through that front door, but everything does point to it.
Well, there was some reason she was really, really worried about going to jail. I mean,
Right. Am I going to be charged with a
can't
crime?
deny it. She's, it's in there. I done read that.
Yeah.
Kez was asking me, saw in the discovery that Chris was under investigation with CPS. Do you know what for? I haven't saw that he was under investigation for it, Kez. I did see where there was like some scribble about the CPS in North Carolina, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And date, I believe, but there's literally nothing that's been confirmed with that. That was literally the only thing that I've
The only
seen
thing
about
with
CPS.
CPS and Chris is that they ended up going and getting him to sign off because he murdered the kids. But in there, it said that he had no further involvement with CPS.
Yeah,
But
so
if you go back to before the murders, there was a family court date coming up. There was an incident in North Carolina, but because he fled out and records are sealed, we'll never know.
right. And just for clarification, he didn't ask for the medical records to be sealed. He was the one that had to accept the deal. He was offered the death penalty off of the table if you agree to all of this. So he can't tell them, okay, but you got to sell the medical. No, it doesn't work that way. He had to agree that they would be sealed. He don't know why they were sealed, and he doesn't know what's in them. And he even has asked to see them, and they will not let him. So there's that. But many people believe that they were sealed because he wanted them sealed. No. That was in the plea agreement that he had to agree to in order for them to take the death penalty off the table.
Yeah, so they won't be releasing them until 90 years from the time that the court documents were signed.
Oh, you're very welcome, Kez. Okay, I guess
90 years, seriously?
90 years, yeah.
And Chris's can't be open till, I'm sorry, I can't remember. I think it was 50 years after his death.
Wow.
Yeah,
Which would be equivalent to 90 years again. So
yeah, which he don't even know why. So
no,
or he says he doesn't know why, and I literally don't think he does.
the only thing I could see is when he had that breakdown when they broke him when he was in solitary confinement. When they found him on the fetal position, holding his head and
Yeah.
yelling and screaming. That's the only thing. I think they probably gave him something, and maybe even doctors even could have even talked to him or something, and all that was
Yeah.
sealed.
Yeah,
You know,
that's quite possible.
because again, that would take out their narrative of what actually happened if something was actually come out, or who knows.
Yeah.
Pretty good friends with, is it Shannon or Shanann?
Shanann, you pronounce it like shenanigans.
Okay.
Everybody calls her everything else but that, but it's Shanann.
Right.
It took me like 2 years to get it down.
Okay, I've heard Shannon, I've heard this, that, and the
Yeah,
other. So
Shanann.
Shanann. Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand you and Shanann are pretty good friends. Is that
I mean, yeah,
correct?
we hang out a lot. We have kids the same age.
Okay.
I met her because her mom started working for me when I was running a whole bunch of salons and decided to change professions, so now I'm here. But
Okay.
that's not important.
All right.
I don't think we need hers to be sped up. It's already kind of hard to understand. I'm going to put it on normal.
So how long have you known Shanann?
3 to 4 years, I would
Okay.
say. It was when Bella was little, and then she was pregnant with Cece, and Cece just turned 3. So.
Okay.
The same time I met Shanann, I actually got.
So, yeah. She met Shanann when she was pregnant with Bella. But then later on, she met her at the birthday party, Cece's birthday party.
When she turned 1.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's what she said, right? Let me back it up just a hair. I'm pretty sure that's what she said. Okay. Sorry, y'all.
So I understand you and Shanann are pretty good friends. Is that
I mean, yeah,
correct?
we hang out a lot. We have kids the same age.
Okay.
I met her because her mom started working for me when I was running a whole bunch of salons and decided to change professions, so now I'm here. But
Okay.
that's not important.
All right. So how long have you known Shanann?
3 to 4 years, I would
Okay.
say. It was when Bella was little, and then she was pregnant with Cece, and Cece just turned 3. So.
Okay.
The same time I met Shanann, I actually got invited by her mom, Sandy, over for Cece's first birthday party.
Okay.
See? I mean,
That's
see
exactly
what I'm
what she
saying?
said. First birthday.
Yeah. But yet she met her when she was pregnant with Cece.
Mm-hmm.
Premonition, maybe? I don't know.
Well,
Right?
Ash had a question there about Chris. When they threw him into solitary confinement, he was in there for, good Lord, what was that, 97 days, I think it was, or something?
yeah, 97 days.
96
Yeah.
or 97 days. But no, they broke him by putting him in there. They had him in a paper jumpsuit, and he was actually laying on the floor holding his head. He was yelling and screaming and crying. What the heck was it? What did I do? I think it was.
Yeah.
And then there was I believe it was 2 jail guards that had commented to the news, like to the media about it, and boom, they were gone. And there was some ruling with the judge that all that was sealed. There is one video left on YouTube. All you have to do is Google Chris Watts yelling, and they have a little like a automated version of it there, and that's all that's left. Everything else has been removed. So that's what that's all about.
Yeah.
But then again, that's why he more or less confessed what he did, because it's either you either die, and face it, that he probably would have died of natural causes if they gave him the death penalty. So
Oh, yeah.
the only thing he's doing now is covering up from what actually happened, and I really do think that's part of the plea agreement, is why he can't talk, and that includes even people like David Carter and all these other people in jail that supposedly he talked to. He can't discuss the case, period. Otherwise, he'd break his plea agreement, and they'd send him back to Colorado, where he does not want to go.
Yeah. Definitely not. Kaz, you got birds too. Yeah, they can get very rowdy. Mine does too.
think Kez says hers was sitting on her head earlier.
Mine will
Hi,
not let
Cherokee
me
Rider.
even hold them.
Oh, really?
No. Maybe soon. I haven't had them but about 2 weeks, so maybe soon.
Like talk to her in passing, but to actually like say I got to know her and stuff like that. I met her before, but not like where we developed a friendship. So, Cece's first birthday party around then I went over and I met the whole family and spent some time with them. So ever since then, because we have the same kids in age, and she got me doing Thrive with her. So I was concerned because normally when we come back from these, she harasses me, and I don't want to say harass me, but she harasses me the next day, like, come on, let's call people, let's get things going, let's work business. And she didn't call it, or she didn't text that morning. Like, usually I have a text message between 6:30 and 7:30 from her if she wants to do business or wants to get together or whatever. And I had signed up a new promoter over the weekend, so we had plans to go to lunch with her at 1:30. And I woke up at like 7:45 that morning, and I didn't hear anything from her. I thought it was odd, but I knew we were both tired, so I rolled over and went back to sleep. And then I woke up, and I still hadn't heard anything from her, so I texted her. I texted her on yesterday morning at 8:43 a.m. asking her, how are you?
8:43.
Yeah.
The beige purse.
Okay.
So that was the beige purse that she took with her on the trip, and it was in the office.
Yes.
Where you found it.
Yes.
Is that an unusual place for that to be?
I mean, no. I mean, I don't pay attention to where Shanann puts her purse or whatever, so no, I don't think so, but usually she has it on the counter when I'm there because we're getting ready to leave, so I don't know.
So did you move it at all, or did you just leave it where it was?
I told them I found it, and then they asked me to get it. The police officer did, and Chris. So I went and grabbed it, and I gave it to Chris. I didn't go through it. I gave it to him, and let him go through it.
All right. Okay, let's go.
So at 11:46, I said, I'm very worried about you. I'm coming to your house. And the reason I decided to go to her house was because I had watched the dog Dieter, the week before. And I didn't bother Chris because I knew he figured he was at work, but I figured like, well, maybe after he left for work, she passed out or something. She's pregnant, she wasn't feeling well, something. So I was like, I'll just go to the house and see if she's there. And if her car's there, but she doesn't answer, then I'll use their code to go in. So, I had my son with me, my 16-year-old and my 2-year-old, and I go to their house, and I knocked on the door, and I rang the doorbell, and her shoes that she had on the night before were right inside the door. And those shoes she wears everywhere. It doesn't matter if there's, unless it snows 3 feet, she will put on tennis shoes, but they're flip-flops. She wears them everywhere. So I was like, well, that's odd if she's not here. And she buys the same damn flip-flops every year because she likes them that much.
Do you know what kind of brand name they are?
I don't. I have a picture of them. Oh, so she didn't answer. I knocked. She rang the doorbell. She didn't answer. And then I tried the code. I didn't even think to look for the car yet, but I tried the code. And then when I went to open the door, they have one of those locks like you have in a hotel room up top.
Oh yeah.
So that was
thing that flip over.
That was flipped. So I couldn't get in, but I mean, you could stick your arm in, but you couldn't get in.
Right.
So I was like,
So you have the code for the door.
I do have the code for the door,
Okay.
but I couldn't get in.
Okay.
So then I was like, why would they flip this lock? The only time I know of them flipping that lock is when Cece, their 3-year-old, tries to escape. Or, I mean, I don't know if they flip it at night because I'm never there when they go to bed, but the only time I've seen them use it is when they're on the inside of the house. To keep Cece from going outside because she's at that age where she can open the door and she escapes. So the lock was flipped, and I was like, I yelled through the door, nobody answered me. And then I told Nicholas, my son, I was like, because the garage panels where you can see in, it was too high for me. I'm like, come look and see for cars in the garage. And he couldn't, so then I backed my car up and pulled it up closer to the garage, and he stood on my hood to look and see, and our car was in the garage. And I'm like, why would, in the back door they have a sliding glass door too that you can see from the front door, and they have one of those things that comes down. That was locked too. Yeah. That was locked too. And I'm like, and the dog was put up. And I don't know if they cage him all the time, but as far as I know, they only do it when they leave the house. So I don't know. And then I don't remember at what point I could look at my phone, but I did call Chris and said, I was like, Chris, I'm worried about Shanann. She's not at home. or I said her car is here, but she's not at home. And, we left because I'm like, okay, well, let's go see if she went to her doctor's appointment. Because I'm trying to like maybe, I don't know, maybe she did go on a play date. Who knows? So I drove to the doctor's office because I doctor there too, and I know they're not supposed to give out personal, and they didn't give out personal information. Like I'm seeing it, I know the whole HIPAA laws and all of that. I just walked up to him and I said, I know you're not supposed to tell me this. I get it. I don't need other information. I just need to know if Shanann Watts showed up for her doctor's appointment. And the lady looked at me and I was like, please, I just need to know if I need to be concerned. And if she didn't show up for that appointment, I know I need to be concerned. And she told me she didn't show up for the appointment.
Okay. What time were you at the doctor's office? Do you remember?
Well, if I called Chris at 12:27, it's probably like 15 minutes from their house. I can give you the address of the doctor's office.
Yeah, if you know it.
It's 6, yeah, so then after I left the doctor's office, I was like, okay, something's seriously wrong. So, because I've been in contact with Cassie and Christina all morning, because these are people that would normally talk to her every day. I called them, I'm like, what do I do? Chris said she's with a friend, and they were like, go back to the house and call the cops. So then I did. I drove back to the house, and then they were on
What time did you call the police?
1:33.
Did you call 911 or the regular line?
I called the non-emergency line because I didn't know whether they would consider that emergency or not, so I looked up the non-emergency line and called it. The police officer was like, do you know where your wife is? And he's like, no. He's like, well, can you open your door so we can go inside? And he wasn't there yet. And then I called her mom, because her mom had lived there too. So I called Cassie because Cassie stayed with her, and then her mom stayed with her. So I was trying to get anybody to give us a code for the garage because that was the only way to get in. So I let Chris go, and then I called her mom, and her mom didn't know what was going on. And I was like, Sandy, do you have a code to Shanann and Chris's garage door? And she was like, she started giving me numbers, but none of them worked. And then I, of course, had to tell her what was going on, and I didn't call her before that because I didn't want to upset her if there was nothing to upset her about. So, and then Chris showed up and let us know they were going to go in her house at some point. She's very OCD. Everything's labeled. It has its spot.
Okay.
It doesn't move from that spot. If it does, it gets put back in that spot. Like, yeah.
All right. Tell me more about the phone.
So my son, like I said, he was rummaging through the pillows because we were trying to see if her phone was there. Because if it was, it's usually where people normally put phones or whatever, by the bed or whatever. I don't know why he chose to look in the sofa, but he did. He's a 16-year-old. I don't know. So my son found the phone, and it was stuffed down in the cushion.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Where is the couch again? So it's in the family room?
Yeah, it's right outside their bedroom. Okay. Like maybe 5-10 feet from the bedroom.
Okay. He just starts taking off the cushions?
Yeah. He was just, because it's one of those couches that has the base cushions, and then it's got a whole bunch of like throw pillows on it. So he picked up her phone, and it wasn't on.
Okay.
And then at that point, because I called her mom and I called Cassie, we were all on the phone together and they were on speaker. So they heard everything that was going on and everything that was being said. And
as you're walking through the house?
Yeah, because her mom was saying, like, look here, like, see if this is here. And I'm like, Sandy, calm down. Let's first see if she's in the house. So we found her phone and Chris turned it on. The police officer asked him to turn it on. So they turned it on, and then it needed a code. I didn't know the code, but Cassie knew the code. It was the baby's due date.
Okay.
So then I walked away from the phone. I went downstairs because Sandy was like, Nikki, go look and see if the girls' meds are there. Because Cece, the 3-year-old, well, Bella too, but not as bad as Cece. They both have asthma, but Cece's highly allergic, like EpiPen was there. So she did not have the girls' meds with her. And then because we found the phone, she was like, is her purse there? And I'm like, I don't see it anywhere. So then I started rummaging through the house trying to find a purse. And I didn't find it. Didn't find it. And I'm like, no, her purse isn't here. I was like, so maybe she did go somewhere with the girls, like thinking that she did. And then we went over to the neighbor's house because he said, the cop had asked questions I couldn't tell you. Like at that point, I wasn't really paying attention. I was trying to look for things that her mom was asking me to look for. She asked me to check the knives. I'm like, no, all the knives are here on the counter, like the butcher block or whatever. She asked me to go down in the basement and look just to make sure. I went downstairs. stuff like, I mean, she was like telling me, because she lived there, she's like, did you check her shoe closet? She has this amazing shoe closet in her office that her dad built her, sorry. But I was like, Sandy, like, they're not here. I don't know what to say. They're not here. Well, then we found her purse. So then after we saw the videos, we go back in the house, and I found her purse right inside the door of her office. And I went in her office several times. It was like tucked right there by the door. I just walked past
Was it behind the door?
No, it was like right next to the door. Like, door was open, and then on the opposite side, it was sitting right inside the door of the baby to find out what they were having. Because the next weekend when we got back from Arizona, which would be this weekend, we were supposed to do a gender reveal party. So they flew in Tuesday night late, and I was over at their house Wednesday night before we left. I went over and watched the girls, played with them, painted their nails, that kind of thing, hung out with them. My mom and dad went. But Chris was really weird when he came home that night. He did not say hi to me. He did not acknowledge me at all, which is not normal for him. He'll like give a hug, or he'll acknowledge that you're there. He'll say, hey, how you doing, whatever, and then he'll go on in his merry way and do whatever. He did not talk to me at all that night.
That was Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Okay, that would have been
And I mean, they were in a hurry or whatnot, but because he was running late, so I literally got there when he got there, and we like bypassed, but he didn't say anything, and he seemed really like uptight, would be a good way to put it.
Okay.
So they leave and go to the doctor's appointment, and then they come back, and she gives me the envelope of what the baby was going to be. 9:55 on Wednesday, and said, Chris said we're not compatible anymore. He refuses to hug me. He said he thought another baby would fix his feelings. Said he refused couples counseling. So no gender reveal. So she canceled the gender reveal party. And then she said, can you tell me what I'm having? I need some happy news, please. And I said, yes, I can. Are you sure? She was like, yes. And she's like, I'm not telling anyone, though, not even Chris. I said, can I come tell you in the morning? I'd really like to tell you this kind of news in person and not through text. And I don't know if you want another text message, but she said I might go masturbate to relieve stress. So, so everything was whatever. But I went to Walmart and I got some stuff for the baby, and I got them these champagne poppers. So if they did decide to do it, like, it'd be exciting for whoever did it, whether it was her and the girls or her and Chris or whatever. There was, they're going to have a baby. And they were having a little boy. They are having a little boy. She asked him and I took her to her house and said that like it was in a little bag or whatever. And I said, here, if Chris wants to do this with you or whatever. And she said he wanted to wait to find out with her that night. Because she was trying to like appease him or make him feel better or whatever. She wanted to put him mow in the backyard. And I was like, Shanann, you're not mowing the backyard. It's like 80 degrees outside. She's like, I just need you to help me get it down the rocks or whatever. So I ended up mowing her backyard for her before I left, because I'm like, I'm not going to let you mow the damn backyard. I'm just not. And I don't know why I took a picture of the shoes. I really don't. It's just like when I was walking through the house, I'm like, well, that's odd. That's odd. Because, like, to me, like, I don't understand why the police officer let us go in the house.
Yeah. Well, but at that point, it's still at this point where it's still a missing person. Right.
But, like, he let us touch things and go through things, and that's where I'm like, I don't know, I've watched a lot of crime.
Yeah, right. I understand.
So is she still considered a missing person?
At this point, I don't know if anything's happened since I've been talking to you.
Well, because the lady that called me, she's like, we have some more evidence we can talk to. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, a lot of it's just a clarification thing.
The Rockies game on Saturday night, so they got a babysitter for the girl. Chris wasn't home at like 9 o'clock, which she thought was odd because it was an afternoon ball game. And then she checked her bank statement and he went out to dinner, which that's not odd, but the total was $60-some. And she's like, why would he spend $60-some at dinner? And I'm like, maybe he had some beer. I don't know.
You remember where that was?
The Lazy Dog in Westminster, off of 144th and I-25.
Okay.
So.
What kind of restaurant is that?
It's like a bar and grill type thing.
So you'd have to work at it to get $65.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about. Because I'm like, well, we went out to dinner tonight, and it was a Mexican restaurant, but it was a bar and grill type thing. And, I mean, I had some drinks. So I was like, well, my bill was $47 tonight. And she's like, Nikki, $63, yours was $47. And it was one person. I'm like, well, yeah, but we didn't have appetizer and dessert. I was like, so maybe he, like, was treating himself. But she said that he, he wasn't home yet either. He didn't get home until 10:30, which she found that to be odd because it was well after dinner. And she knows when he gets home because their security system tells you when you open the door.
All right.
So, she asked him what he had for dinner. And again, she's trying not to accuse or be snarky. So he said, oh, I had some salmon and a beer. And she's like, oh, okay, we'll save the receipt because I need it for taxes. Because, sorry if she writes off anything. So then she gets off the phone with him or whatever. When we come back, she's upset. And she was like, well, what do you spend that on? And I don't know. And she looked up the menu and he said he had salmon and a beer. And she's like, that's only like $30. Where's the other $40? I'm like, I don't know, Shan. Like, if you ask Chris to save the receipt, you'll have to look at the receipt. I was like, maybe he bought one of the guys dinner because they bought him something at the ballgame. Like, who knows? So then she started going through their bank statement to see if there was any high charges while she was gone because they don't have that relationship where he spends whatever he wants, she spends whatever they want, bills get paid, you know.
You have any knowledge about their finances? I mean, are they in debt of their eyeballs? Or are they rolling in it?
I would say, I don't know. I collected their mail while they were in North Carolina, and there was a lot of mail. I didn't go through it or whatever, but I mean, yeah, I think they were having financial issues because it was always, she makes enough money that their daughters go to a really high-end preschool and stuff, like private school.
What I just wrote down.
What?
Vista Ridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vista Ridge, yeah. They go to Primrose Vista Ridge, and I mean, that saved by her being in North Carolina, that was the $2,500 savings that month. So if that tells you anything, so. But I mean, he works in the oil fields. He's got to make good money. I mean, I don't know. We don't talk about finances,
right.
But.
So do they go to Vista Ridge like full time?
She works from home and she takes them full time.
She takes them every day.
Yeah, Shanann usually takes them every day.
Okay. So.
Would you stay away from Chris?
At this point,
I mean, there's no reason for me to go over there, but then I'm the only one here, so they're like, well, what's Chris doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sitting in his house 24/7 with him.
Right. So, I would recommend that you probably not contact Chris.
Okay, and if he contacts me, leave him?
Yeah, probably for the time being.
Okay.
So.
Is it wrong to ask if he's a suspect?
Since it's technically a missing person, there's not technically a suspect, but he is somebody that we definitely would like to talk to further.
Right.
So, and you watch the Dateline stuff, that stuff goes.
Yeah.
So,
people
that are involved tend to draw a little bit of the spotlight more.
And like, if it was a crime of passion, I honestly think to God he'd strangle her. Only because she already has the neck issue. I mean,
yeah. But yeah, if you think of anything else, send me a text or send me an email.
Okay.
Or give me a call, whichever.
Okay. So. Do you need anything else from me?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
So you're here until 6 a.m. Is that right?
Yeah, and my 16-year-old was there too. So I don't know if you want to talk to him, but he was there with me. The 2-year-old probably won't tell you much. So, yeah, I just
okay.
Unfortunately.
All right. Right. Her purse?
That's her purse. It's her medication. She takes these, her medication's still in here.
We're going to get a hold of them. We're working on all that.
Is this laying underneath the pillows or like in between 2 pillows or?
It had about maybe 3 or 4 pillows like on top of it, and
like laying flat? Or
they were pushed and positioned back up to where
like normally be?
Like they would normally be under it.
Okay.
And I moved them in bed because I started just moving them, and about once I got moved these ones, which there's about two, then I got to maybe around here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a foot into the couch, and then I saw her flip the corner of the phone, and I reached out from under the pillow and grabbed it.
Okay. Was it face down or face up?
It was
Do you remember?
face up.
Face up.
Wait,
If you don't know, that's okay.
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Can I add something?
Sure.
The whole weekend, she had one of those little things on the phone. I don't know if it's still on there, but
Like a battery pack?
no, it was like a clutch, so she could wear it on her wrist, because normally she has one of these on it,
Oh, okay.
and it broke or whatever, so she had one so that, like, when she held it to take pictures or she dropped it, she
Mhm.
broke her phone.
Microphone, yeah.
And I don't remember that being on it when we gave it to us all.
It wasn't on it. It was taken off.
Okay.
What
do you call it, a clutch? Like a lanyard?
Kind of, yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that's what took so long to put together, but I think it said a lot.
Yeah, lots and lots, yes.
Yeah.
And lots hid behind the scenes that was never said too, though.
Yeah.
But you'd be here for days if you were to pick apart everything in Discovery. That's why we have Watch Wednesdays.
Yeah. Yeah, just that took 2 days to put together. So it takes a while to put these Watch Wednesdays together.
I wonder why they didn't question her when she said crime of passion when they were still missing and suggesting strangulation
know.
before they even found her.
Girl,
Well, the
I
whole thing with that
know.
is she kept on saying was, not is. Like,
Oh, I know. She kept referring to her in past tense.
yeah, and the kids.
Well, she never said anything. I thought that was weird too. Like this was done on the 14th, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was weird how she said, well, it was probably or could have been a crime of passion. And how did she say it? I know he would have strangled her or something, or he probably strangled her.
Because of her neck issues.
What in the hell, man? Everybody knew about this strangling. Like, I don't know. Everybody was saying the strangling thing before Chris ever said it.
Yeah. So what day was his polygraph?
Chris's polygraph was the 15th, and he didn't even. Tammy was telling him you could strangle somebody before he ever said it.
That's because they knew where the bodies were before he even went into the polygraph, though.
Well, they were saying it on the 14th, if you'll remember.
That's right.
Coder, remember Tammy said Coder walked out in the hall on the 14th, and he goes, "I think he strangled her."
Yeah.
It's like, what? Everybody's saying he strangled her like way before he said it.
Yeah, and that goes back to Anadarko when they went there to grab NK's emails, and then one of her friends from Anadarko called her and said that CBI was just there and took her emails. And that's where all this stuff about immunity comes into play, because all of a sudden Rourke has his bombshell evidence from NK.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's like, I sorry to back way up, but that 360 app, with that, I don't know if anybody remembers when they were showing it way back when. It showed that NK, or on the 360 app, they were doing over 200 miles an hour. That's because she had turned it on. And what she did, she actually had that downloaded on Nick's phone because he had the car and they wanted to see where she was or where he was all the time. But he was supposed to go pick them up at the airport. So with them doing 200 miles an hour, that's because they were in the airplane. So, but later on, when it shows that's like 11 o'clock is when the 360 app is working, that's because that's when Nick gets in the car. She didn't have it turned on when she was driving around earlier. So that's another thing that I'd like to really know, like if she really did go in the house between 8 and 8:30, because that would put all the puzzles together with the alarm, everything, you know.
It really would. And I find it so bizarre that 9 o'clock, that first well-being call should have been like of the utmost importance because they have already called once earlier
That's
this
right.
morning.
See,
But it's
that's
never
why when she called,
mentioned. Even Nicole doesn't mention it herself.
no, that's why when she calls the second time, which was weird too, because then all of a sudden you have the diabetes and she could have passed out from low blood sugar and all this and that. But the thing is when when Coomrod is standing with Nick on the back deck there, here's Nosy Nate saying, oh yeah, she's got diabetes. So they had to have been talking because Nate didn't know anything about the Watts, period.
No.
So
No, and he was at court with the NA too,
that's right.
sentencing.
Yeah. But he wasn't on the witness, so it's all kind of weird.
It's
But
very
why wouldn't
weird.
he be a witness if he had the video of the truck pulling to the back of the yard or the back of the garage? I mean, there. So that just makes no sense whatsoever.
No. I mean, I have the photo. I have several photos, but I have one where Nate, and everybody's probably already seen it, but I do have the photo, or a really good photo of sentencing where Nate is Nate and her Nate is in court with NA and her son.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all sitting right behind.
Well, just the way that they're going in and out of his house, like they knew each other. It was kind of weird.
Well, yeah, the little girl wasn't even a bit timid of Nate at
No, she
all.
just walked right in like they've been there before.
Yeah,
but who knows,
like,
right?
Like
But as Nellie said, that crime of passion really sticks out because why the heck would she be saying that unless, it was already brought up to Sandy? Because
yeah, and Sandy, she's the only one I believe that I didn't hear talk about strangling. Like Lauren said, she's the one that was talking about pouring oil on their bodies, and she also was worried for whatever reasons and wanted Nicole to really check the knives. You just heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Nicole was kind of getting aggravated with Sandy telling her what to do or whatever, She's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's the whole thing with Nicole. She's cussing out the police.
I know. Well,
and
she
all
literally
they wanted to do is talk to her to see what else, in case they missed something, just to help out the case. But she's more concerned about, being charged with something. And it's like she washed her hands of everything once she did find out that they were really missing.
Yeah. Once the word is they're gone, then it's like, I don't want to get involved because I don't know, for whatever reason, she's worried she's going to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yes, it was Lauren
no
that it
sense.
was Sandy that suggested that there was oil on the body. So
yeah,
there's a lot of things with Sandy that's unanswered too. But like her deleting messages, it's like why? Her calling Chris, what the heck was it, 12 times one day, or like in one day before he went to North Carolina too.
Mm-hmm.
So like what's going on there? But then again, Sandy knew that everybody was gone and never told Frank and Frankie. They had to learn about it on the news, and they were supposed to be in the same house.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with that? That's like Sandy knows more. And just from the way everything is like playing out in Discovery, is Sandy was still close with NA and telling NA what was going on. And I think where this crime of passion came from.
Yeah, Lauren, Nicole was actually asking that. She wasn't with them. They had called her after she got back home, and they told her they had a chance to look over the GPS and they found some more things they would like to ask her about. And I just read it in the Discovery. So, I mean, if you came in late, hon, just go back when you get time and you can see it in the Discovery. Nicole says, I've done talk to them, and they say she cusses them out and she is not going to talk to them again. And this is when she was at home. And then she would agree to let them come to her work and she would talk to them. And that's the interview you just heard now as well.
That photo that you have on screen right now has always, and I mean always, bothered me.
Well, there is Nicole and NA
Yeah, but there's
behind
Sandy
him
with a
and her
smirk on her
son.
face.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't even remember. Like, that's not even what Sandy wore to the sentencing, is it? Like,
No.
no, this is
I
not
don't
what
know
they.
when that's from.
I don't know. This must have been when he was
It's all
like,
photoshopped, whatever this is.
I don't. But it's not, because there's other photos where it shows Nate there with NA.
Yeah.
But
He didn't wear that. Her dad didn't wear that to the sentencing.
no, he didn't. I don't know.
And
Is
she
it,
didn't wear that shirt to this. That's not.
Is this a news conference that they had?
is it a news
Maybe.
conference? Maybe, or is it? Did
I
you
don't know
see
what
it when
this
he
is.
waived his rights, like a week before, like on November the 6th? Did you notice what they look like then? I don't even think it
No,
showed them, did it?
no. I'm trying to remember when, I'm sorry, but when Sandy actually came to Colorado, I don't think she ended up there until moving day, wasn't it?
Moving
Because
day
Frank
was,
and Frankie was there
let me think.
like a week later or something.
Yeah. Moving day was September, if I'm not mistaken, the
Right.
13th or 21st. I can't remember.
And
Right
then
around
she
in
didn't
there.
end up there until when they were doing the sentencing.
Actually, that's right. That's right, because I don't believe she went, and I could be mistaken, but I don't believe she went when Frank got representation, but she may have. But at the same time, that was still after sentencing.
Right.
Um,
And yet Ronnie, okay, let's put it this way, like Ronnie went right away as soon as Chris asked him
yes,
to. And what
yes.
I was told is that the state had paid for Ronnie's air flight. And that when the Rusiks all went, that everything was all paid for then too. So I can't see why, like if my daughter went missing, why in the heck I wouldn't want to go like right when she's missing when they're still looking for her. But yet when she's found, I'd sure in hell want to be there for that too. But yet Sandy didn't move a
Oh,
muscle.
hell yeah. I would, oh my God, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like Frank does most of all the running around and just
Yes, it doesn't.
doing the
I don't know.
footwork.
And I'm not bad mouthing anybody. I'm just wondering,
No,
like, what
it's
the
just
heck.
curious. Yeah.
Hi, Kelly.
Okay.
There's
This
somebody
is,
else I missed in here too. Tracy Wheeler. Haven't seen her in a long time. Be
hello,
good to see
Kelly.
you.
It's good to see you. God, every time I see that picture, there is so much going on in that picture.
There is.
I mean, it's just so much going on there.
And no matter what anybody thinks, that leopard outfit that Shanann has on is a pantsuit.
Yeah, I think
actually
I
have
got
a
another.
picture of it.
I think I got another photo though where it shows it's a pantsuit.
Everybody thought it was a gown, but nope, nope, nope.
I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, there it is.
There it is, right there. Very ladylike.
Yeah, that's a awkward.
Yeah. That's like Taco Tuesday or something, you know?
Oh, Dave.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward pose there.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in that photo too.
I didn't realize Chris was
Chris,
that
I
much
don't
shorter.
know. He looks the way Chris. I don't know. The way he looks right here, man. Like if people don't know he knows something, really?
That's right. Yeah, he's pissed right there.
No kidding. Like, oh my God.
That looks creepy.
I
Zoom back out.
know.
So if you go back to at the very start there, I'm sorry about the 8:30, but if that's the case and she was in the house and there was somebody inside the house, like NK at the time cleaning up or whatever, then NA would have been in the house at the same time. And if you go back to when the police got there, like they never ever did say like when NA and Nick opened up the door, like, you know, if Dieter was barking or not. But with the Coomrad, when he went there, you can barely hear Dieter barking, and then he stopped barking. And it's almost like somebody was in the house then. So if you go back to if she did take the purse, she did take the cell phone, whatever they were planning, if they were planning on taking Shanann's car somewhere, that would have blown the whole thing and everything would have been shut down right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot going on with this. When I think it was Dave that originally mentioned, hey, we should just do something, and recognize Cassie a little bit and throw out some stuff. I think it was him that mentioned doing this particular live. And until we started putting everything together with it, I had no idea there was so much that really could connect with this little part of it. And especially like last night when me and Dave was talking about that 9 a.m., I'm like, Dave, it's not there. And that it doesn't even make sense for it to be there. I'm just reading right now where she said that she rolled back over, blah, blah, blah. She didn't even leave till 10-ish. And then I read it again. I went and listened to her interview. I'm like, Dave, it's not there. He's like, it's there. And I was like, okay, I know he knows what the hell he's talking about. I'm going to find it. So it took me a while, but I found it. And I was like, damn it, it is there. Like, why isn't this talked about more? Why is this being brushed under the rug?
It doesn't fit his narrative.
No, Dave, there's something there with that 9 a.m. well-being. That should be a huge deal. It's not. It's brushed under the rug.
When Dwayne Chester brings it up. The only way that NK would have known about that is that she was in that house when it happened.
Well, that makes sense too. I didn't even think about that way.
Yeah, because my understanding was it didn't show up on Krista's phone, but it did show up on Shanann's. And again, with NK saying, like during her interview, she said that she was reading out the times that she texted Shanann. Well, according to Shanann's phone, that there was 4 text messages in a row, as if they were staged messages, and they were all in the afternoon after the fact. So that's another reason. If she went into the house between 8 and 8:30, she sure in the hell wouldn't be texting somebody that doesn't have their phone.
No.
But yet to protect herself, she would have to stage these times in order to, in the public's interest again, according to Rourke.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not bashing NA. It's just that
no, we're just trying to put things together here and make it make sense. And it just doesn't. Like also the thing with the lanyard. It's like, no, the lanyard wasn't on it. She says it wasn't on it.
And when he handed it to Chris, I couldn't see it. I really couldn't. And I can't figure out why in the hell would he put a lanyard on it after the fact. It doesn't make sense.
No, the lanyard was clearly on it.
Yeah, you can see it hanging.
Yeah, but everybody said it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's so odd. And there again, I thought it was odd about everybody talking about strangling before Chris ever said a damn thing about strangling.
Yeah.
But have you noticed during all of that, when everybody's talking about strangling, nobody ever mentions what happened with the kids?
No, nobody does. No.
Never. It's always he strangled Shanann. Maybe he strangled Shanann. It was a crime of passion. You can strangle someone to kill them, but nobody ever mentions anything about what could have happened to the kids ever.
No. That's why everybody still thinks that the first confession actually it's the only confession is what happened.
Yeah.
But to me, I can't say that the girls even came home from the birthday party because his cell phone didn't connect with the router until after 9 p.m. that day. So to me, I don't know if they even came home or if that's like he got a hold of NK's Forerunner and drove out to Survey right after the birthday party and dug the grave and put the girls inside the batteries in. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because people can hear me and Dave and Nellie were all extremely close. We talk every day, but that is one thing that I disagree with him with. I think they did come home from the party and he respects my opinion. He sees why I see it that way. And I completely understand why he sees it his way. It's just we see it differently. I think they did come home from the party. He doesn't think they did. And we completely respect each other's opinion there.
Yeah, we don't always agree on each other's opinions, but we respect each other's opinions for damn sure.
Yeah, because
Lord,
I mean, if you
I-
listen to Dave explain why he does not believe it, I mean, it's hard to rebut what he's saying because I mean, it aligns perfectly with the facts, right? So it's hard to rebut that. But I don't know. It's just something in me that I just, in my opinion, my facts line up with they did go home. So you see what I'm saying? But we agree to disagree. And it's fine. Oh, there's no argument. Hell, we're best friends, you know?
Mm-hmm.
say with me, he always took a backpack no matter where he went. He had to change of clothes. So, and it's like the day of the birthday party, he fed them pizza for breakfast. And then, you know, there's nothing saying that he never packed their pajamas. And because their clothes were all wet. And what gets me is that, okay, the car seats were supposed to have been wet too, that were in the back of the Lexus. But there was also 2 car seats that were sitting on the garage floor by the Lexus. So there's nothing saying that he could have grabbed the other 2 car seats, because if you look inside when they were looking in the back of the hatch of the Lexus, there was empty backpacks in there, you know.
Yeah,
So, and
there
then
is.
his brand new work boots, you know. So
Yeah.
to me, I really do think that he went over to NK's and got her Forerunner and drove him out there after the birthday party, because there wasn't a speck of dust on the inside of that Lexus at all, you know. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like I say, that it's very true. And it's hard as hell to rebut that at all. But there again, you know, I have my,
yeah.
I think they did. I think they came home from the party and, yeah, I do.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
I don't
sorry.
know. I mean,
One thing.
I think they did.
One thing people were saying there about the garage door, the code. Well, when Frank was there, he said that garage door, the keypad did not work, and he was there for 18 months. So, and then when Chris was explaining it to the police when they were there, he said that the wires had pulled through, so it wasn't working anymore. So it wouldn't have mattered what code they used on that thing; it would not have worked. There's no power going through it at all. So
Yeah, it was messed up. Shanann was even upset that that was messed up.
that's right.
Tracy wants to know, did the girls FaceTime the grandparents that evening?
No, that's okay. So what had happened there
We
is that
well, we don't know. I mean, he's confused with what he's I'll let
who's
David, he's
confused?
really good.
No, because
Frank says
when
he thinks it was, but he wasn't sure.
yeah, Frank, he said that what the heck was it? He may have FaceTimed them, but the way that he was looking at it is he thought he did it that evening, but they had cold pizza for breakfast, and the pictures that they show of the girls, that was at breakfast time. That wasn't at the evening when Frank thought he had FaceTimed them, and
And I do agree with that.
he couldn't check on it because Sandy had deleted it. So there was no way of confirming what time it was that he FaceTimed them. That goes back to Sandy. Why are you deleting this stuff off your phone? What is she trying to hide? You know,
Yeah.
maybe she's
I
not trying to
mean,
hide anything.
it doesn't make sense to be deleting them.
No. So, but with that, see, even Ronnie wanted to FaceTime the girls that evening. But according to Chris's phone, he wasn't connected to the router when he was talking to Ronnie, which mean that he wasn't home when he took that call. That was in.
See, I thought it was Friday night that the girls were wanting to FaceTime Ronnie. I thought that was Friday, but
That was after. I was sure that was after
it probably
the birthday
is.
party.
It probably is. I don't know. I was thinking it was Friday, but I'm sure you're right, Dave. You usually are.
Well, no,
I mean, you usually are. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we decided to cover it again, y'all. I mean, sort of cover it. We're not really, we're not on the train of trying to say that we're going to solve this case, it's going to be reopened and it's going to be reinvestigated. It's not going to happen. That's definitely not why we do it. We're doing it to bring awareness. You know, maybe it can help someone else. And we've already gotten messages saying, hey, you know, yeah, this is helping me. So, you know, that's what it means. That's why we do it. Plus, to understand it better, man. You can't, I mean, with this case, if you sat down and just listen to me read this entire discovery, as the way this discovery is, it's so just botched together. Like you'll have the beginning of it, and then all of a sudden it'll jump to the end of it, and it's everywhere.
It's all
So,
over the place. It's not in a consecutive
yeah,
order at all.
no, not at all. And even
Well,
if you listen to it, man, you're still confused as hell when you're done. That's just like that 9 a.m. thing.
yeah,
How many
well, they
times we
have
read
it
the
set up
discovery, man?
so that if you're looking at the discovery, that you'll see their narrative first.
Oh,
But
for
then they'll put
sure.
the correct way in the middle or at the end, so it's all bottled up. But if you're looking for a specific thing, as soon as you find that, you're going to stop looking for that. And I think that's why they did it that way. And with Lauren, she asked why each time he talks, it's more horrific. You got to remember too, a lot of this stuff, again, with the plea agreement, he really can't say what happened in fear of going back to Colorado. And a lot of things that he's been repeating, like, well, with the Cato there, that one woman that talked about a dream she had. Well, Chris went and more or less recited that whole dream to Ali when they
Yeah.
come up to talk to him.
Yeah, that's a
So,
bit mind-blowing.
yeah.
That was a
So,
bit mind-blowing, yes.
back when he was in jail and prison, they were sending him books. Well, like, what the heck was it? The first one that they gave him was a murder mystery or some stupid thing.
Yeah.
And then finally somebody gave him a Bible. But the whole thing is here's this guy, he's in for killing his family, and you're giving him books about murder.
Oh my God, murder books. Yeah. And he read every damn one of them a couple times.
Yeah. So that's why each and every time he opens his mouth, it's something different and more horrific.
You're very welcome, Michelle. Yeah, it's just an interesting case altogether. I can show you I'll take a picture of it and show it next week. My granddaughter is taking forensics and criminal psychology, and she was actually given this case. I was like, oh boy, to study. So this case is being used not only for us to discuss out here and get education from, but it's also being used in the colleges and the high school. She's in high school. So
High
it's
school?
being used. Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yes. She's in 11th grade. They went from John Benet Ramsey case. They went to another one. I can't remember which one it was. And then to the Watts. Well, they had a choice between 3 different cases, and this was one of them. I can't really remember what the other 2 was. I'll have to look at the paper. Of course, this one stuck out to me. But
Yeah, my niece is doing criminal in high school too, and they cover murder cases.
Oh yeah.
They're doing Jeffrey Dahmer right now because of the Netflix thing that came out, which is total crap, but
yeah, she was doing they do fingerprinting. They're doing all that in high school. That's a great start, man.
I don't know how y'all's does, but like our high school now gears the kids towards what they're going to do in college. Like since Brandon wanted to do veterinarian and engineering, he couldn't decide which one he wanted, but he took classes in high school that geared him towards college, for college, and then he took college credit the last 2 years of high school. So
yeah, that's what she's doing now. She's going to take criminal psychology and forensics. And hell, it's very interesting. I mean, I like helping her with her homework. Now, let me tell you, I actually enjoy it. Now, don't be bringing me that calculus and stuff, but I like helping you with that one. So,
hold on, Cass. Let me go over there and check real quick.
This case is not going to stop being talked about. It is a hell of a good case to use as an educational tool. It is. It just is. There's still no answers. Even Tammy Lee said she doesn't have the answers. She wanted it investigated more. She did not want to stop it. For any of you that came in late, if you watch this video over, you can hear her say that herself. Because of the plea deal, everything was shut down at an unusually fast rate. Like Tammy said, we haven't even had a chance to investigate.
And I think because she opened her mouth too in that Facebook group, that FBI wasn't telling her anything after that.
Yeah. Well, my other granddaughter's having a fit for me to do something on Dahmer. Well, I have never been the least bit interested in doing anything on Dahmer because he makes me sick. I mean, they all make me sick, but I don't know. But I may do something on him. It's definitely, you know me, it's not going to be laying in the lines of what Netflix is doing. I'm going to go outside the box, but it'll still be about Dahmer.
You ever heard of Clifford Olson, the Canadian one?
No, I haven't.
He's disgusting too. So
Yeah. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions or anything? We've been here almost 2 hours. That's usually about the cap we like to stay at.
there's
Anybody got
one there, Tracy. If you go back and look at her videos, most of the FaceTime, actually, I think 100% of it was all done by Frank. I did not see Frankie or Sandy FaceTiming the girls ever. It was always Frank. And actually, I just finished watching one a couple days ago where they were having breakfast and they were trying to feed, I think it was Bella was trying to feed Frank her breakfast on like FaceTiming. So, but no, they did it throughout the day, depending on what day it was. So,
Yeah.
and Lauren, no freezing problems here yet. So
Not yet.
it's
I'm
freezing outside
surprised.
here, but we're supposed to get frost again tonight. We had it last night.
I'm glad it's finally starting to get a little chill in the air. I'm not a summer person. I love fall.
Well, it's supposed to be 24 tonight, so.
Ooh, well, yeah. I like it. Wouldn't it be nice if it stayed like 6 or like 70 all year?
Oh yeah, but then imagine all your bugs.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's not technically good for the environment, but it would feel good.
Mhm.
Okay, Callie says, did he prepare the girls' backpacks for school the next day like Shanann asked him to? Dave?
Well, inside the office, there was 2 backpacks that Jane picked up, and they both looked like they were packed. But I don't know if he packed their lunch like he was supposed to or not. He was also supposed to change the girls' car seats too, but he never did that either. So, but if you look again, if he sorry, if he did have them change their clothes, like put on their bedtime clothes, and drive them out to survey, then he would have had the car seats that Shanann wanted, but they would have been inside the 4Runner and not the Lexus.
You're very welcome, Kez. I'm glad everybody could join us tonight, especially with us having to push it back and it being a day late. And that is really due to my channel being hacked. Oh, gosh, y'all, I was freaking out.
It's a lot of information to go through, too.
Oh, man.
Because
wow. Yeah. And there was so much more.
Biggest things is to have everything handy, all your facts, so that somebody can say, no, I never saw that, like you were doing to me last night with the 9 o'clock wellness check.
Right. Dave, and I appreciate you telling me that and keeping on being persistent. That's what I like. You got to be persistent with me. And with you doing that, I was determined. And I'm glad I found that now, because that really just messes with my head that much more of why that has not been mentioned. That should be extremely important to this case.
But again, see, they didn't show up for that 9 o'clock call either. that's another reason why this diabetes and, could be passed out. That's why they put a priority on that call. And that's why they showed up when they did. Because the first time it was just a wellness check and that was it, right?
Yeah, that's, but
So,
it's one sentence way in the middle towards the end when it should have
yeah.
been before it was even spoke about the one that we all see and hear and all this kind of stuff. And they even asked Nicole in her interview, when did you call them? And she's like 11:36 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, why isn't
Again,
anybody
it
talking
doesn't fit
about
their
that 9
narrative.
a.m. one? Damn it, that's important.
That's right.
Like, you done got my mind all jacked up again. Like,
Sorry.
like, damn, just when I think I've got it figured, I ain't never gonna figure it out. But you know what I mean? I think I got my ducks in a row here. But damn it, you pull some stuff out like this, and now I'm like, oh, hell no.
Well, I guess I'll have a good day when you agree with me about the birthday party.
That's gonna be hell. But hey, I've looked into it. I've literally, and like I say, I see where you come up with that. I get it, but I just can't do it yet. But when I do, I've really put some thought into it. And if I say I do, by God, I ain't changing my mind. You know what I'm saying? So that's,
Mhm.
I think on something too deeply, and it's like, damn, how this took me 2 hours to put this 2 days to put this 30-minute little clip we watched tonight together. But I
Mhm.
watched interviews. I basically reread the discovery. It was just crazy. But I have to show it. Every time I just say something, it's like people comes up in the comments and they're like, "Oh, you're full of shit,"
That's right.
That never happened. Cassie did not find the damn, or Cassie's not the one that knew this. It was Nicole. And I'm like, girl, don't go
Yeah.
there. Like,
That's the
shit.
same as a lanyard.
Yeah, hell, I'm not going to say it if I don't know it, right? But they
Mhm.
could fact check me, but they won't. They won't fact check me. They'll just sit there and call me a liar and go on their merry way. Well, I'm just going to show you before you get the chance to call me a liar. Then, if you got an issue with it, then you're going to have to go to the one that wrote the discovery. You're going to have to go to the one that said the interview, whatever. I just can't stand it. It's very annoying. Okay, Kez, I will check that, honey. My email got so jacked up, and it was doing it for a while. I believe they've been trying maybe to hack me for a while because a lot of my emails were going in spam that shouldn't have been. And then for whatever reason, my spam was deleting like as soon as it got in there. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to sit there forever and clog up all your storage. And but it wasn't. It was just deleting as soon as it went over there. So let me check that out. I'm glad you let me know. Anybody that tries to get me on Facebook Messenger, well, that's probably not really going to work. I'm rarely ever on Facebook Messenger. Like, it is an act of God to get me over there. And to be honest, if you can't get me through email, and I know Dave and Nellie probably hates this, especially Dave, but yeah, he's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me because he sends a text straight through my personal phone, and
Yeah, if
I know
anybody wants it,
that's
like any
annoying, Dave. I'm
questions,
sorry, but
Oh, no,
they
I
can go
don't
through
mind.
your Facebook group too and just leave a message there also.
yeah, that's true too. Just either way like that. My actual, it's easiest to get a hold of me through one of these two, Dave or Nellie. They know right how to get a hold of me immediately.
Does
So,
anybody have any questions about tonight or
yeah, did
what
you
we're
learn
going to do next
anything?
Wednesday?
I always wonder that. Did you learn anything? Knowledge is power, especially in this case. And if anybody learned anything new, that it makes it all worth it to us. Let's see.
One thing though, we're not here to bash or find
No,
faults of anybody. We're
no.
just going through the discovery and stuff, trying to find out what actually happened. And it's really, really hard when you have so many people that aren't telling the truth for one
Yeah.
reason or another. We'll never know why, but I know with Chris, it's because of the plea agreement that he signed. He can't talk. So if people think he's lying all the time, well, yeah, he probably is, because he can't tell the truth because of the plea agreement. So,
Yeah.
and it's like with Ronnie and Cindy, they'll never know the truth either, which is pretty shitty.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, they're literally going through hell, their own personal hell every
And
day.
it's like Frank and Ronnie used to be really, really good friends too. And,
Really good friends, yes.
yeah. And it's just, the whole thing is everybody's getting up in age. And if Ronnie does know or doesn't know what's going on, and Frank might be able to tell him something, hopefully they could sit down and have a beer or something and just,
Yeah.
like, I don't want to say man up or anything like that, but just let the friends come back and talk things out,
Yeah.
Um,
I'll tell
'cause
you
that's
too,
one thing with
Cindy was
Cindy.
absolutely adored Frankie Jr. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
She just still does. And it makes her so sad today that she can't talk to him anymore because she literally adored him.
Mm-hmm.
He was so nice to him, I mean, he was so nice to Cindy and Ronnie, and Cindy just adored him. Like, she thought he was just the sweetest thing ever. And she even got upset when at one point there was people talking, it was Shanann actually told her that the reason that he had moved in with her originally was to try to get him away from the people up there because he was, he had an issue, a drug problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Cindy was like, I don't know if he did or not, but she says, I know one thing. He is the sweetest, the biggest sweetheart. I mean, she just loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so unfortunate, that it had to be this way. And I believe with those families, with this monotony between these two families, honestly, I think a lot of it, actually the majority of it, has to do with social media more so than them.
That's right. Well,
It's
even
so
with Jamie and
unfortunate.
Frankie, they were really good friends, even up and
Yes,
after the
they
murder. But I
were.
don't know if they are now or not, because there was a lot of issues about all these fundraisings and stuff.
Yeah,
But they were really, really good friends too. So,
they were. And the last I've heard is Cindy was just very upset because they don't get to talk to Frankie anymore.
right.
So I don't know. It's just very unfortunate. I do believe had there not have been this whole big side click gangs come out on social media, I don't think it would have ever come to this with the two families.
A Cherokee Raider there. Do you want to answer it, Kim?
What's that?
Is it true that NA and Shanann were not as close as it seemed? I've heard a rumor that they were not.
I couldn't tell you, honey, because, like I say, personally, I couldn't say from what I've observed. I don't think they were very close to begin with. That's pretty obvious. Nicole says that herself. I can say that I do believe Cassie and Shanann were closer. Seemed like Cassie did confide in Shanann confided in Cassie. It seemed like a whole lot more. Nicole was the only one that did reside in Colorado. So, of course, they would have spent more time together. But as far as close bond, from my observing, it looks to me like that her and Cassie was more, and Christina as well. Like, she knew Christina from North Carolina. They knew each other, hell, since they were very young, right? So, but then her and Christina kind of went separate ways, right? They just went completely separate ways and didn't even, and then they reconnected 12 years later through Thrive.
Yeah.
So, but I think her and Cassie were really tight because, well, look at Chris and Josh were tight.
Yes, they were. Yeah. But with Shanann and NA, NA was always Sandy's friend first.
Yes.
It's like Shanann was NA's friend with Thrive. She didn't want her to become a promoter. It's just that NA more or less forced her to sign her up and be a promoter. So it was it's like NA was there to hold her books, and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, Nicole and Sandy was really friends, and yeah.
You know, it's kind of weird that all these different people, I'm sorry, but you get Shanann, once she had Bella, if you think back all the time since Bella was born, how many different people stayed at the Watts' house?
Oh my goodness.
No, seriously, over the
Yeah.
years. It's
Oh my
like she
goodness.
always had somebody there looking after the girls.
Yeah. I can't, there's not many times or very long stretch of times that it was just them. Because you had Frankie came pretty damn quickly after they moved in.
Yeah.
And then it was her family, and then a cousin moved in with them and stayed the summer with them. Cassie had stayed there with them.
And Christine.
Christina, is that not crazy? She came all the way from Florida.
From Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean Hawaii to stay with her for a while.
Yeah, that was during her neck operation. She brought her daughter with her.
Damn, that's a good friend, you know?
Yeah, but look
That's
at all
a
the
hell of a
different
good
people that have
friend.
lived there.
I know.
And
Well,
then
I
it's
think a
like-
lot of it had to do with finances because if you will remember in the interview we just heard with Nicole, she said, and she basically confirmed it for us there, that the North Carolina trip was to save the $2,500 daycare. I mean, you know, we're not making it up. She confirmed it. We just played it. So yeah, I mean, not only a lot of people think trial separation could be in, I think it did have something to do with it, but yeah, it was also to save money, just like Nicole said.
Yeah. Hi, good night, Al.
$2,500, you know, worth of, and Nicole even kind of hints, in my opinion, subtly, to that daycare was just too much. No.
There's another thing in there too at the start there where they said that Chris wasn't allowed to park in the driveway or go through the garage door. He had to go through the house door because the girls were light sleepers. I think that's garbage because if you listen and watch these videos, they have that stupid sound machine on. It sounds like a freight train going through the house. And it's like, why do they have it so loud? Is it so she couldn't hear them cry or what is it? I'm not bashing it. It's really weird because how could they be a sound sleeper with it being that loud? It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Unless
you could have a 5-piece band going in that house and they wouldn't hear it when them sound machines are on.
No
And yet
kidding. Them things
they
were
put them in the
loud.
car too. The sound machines in the car.
Oh yeah,
Like, what the heck?
Yeah. Maybe it was the car. Maybe it was because maybe his headlights or his taillights or something. But then they did have the blackout curtains too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know that he couldn't park there because he got oil on the driveway.
Right.
And so I know
But
that's
then
why he
again,
couldn't park there.
You got oil on the driveway from the truck, right? But if you go that stage, oops, we did it again video, he walks in the house from work with his shoes on. So would there not be oil on his shoes?
Yeah. Was he getting off work? He was getting off work that day, wasn't
Yeah, he had his work boots on.
Yeah, I think he was getting off work that day.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking he was doing yard work, but no. I guess he was getting off work. Wasn't daycare cost $2,500 a month regardless? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Didn't they have to come up with $500 for that day to take them in?
Yes, have to pay $500 up front every Monday morning.
Okay.
Or pay it up front by the month. They didn't have $500 that morning.
Nope.
I don't know how the hell that was going to work out.
What the heck was it that auto payment came off? And she didn't have enough money is because they said that he spent that money for supper. Otherwise, they would have had enough money. But then again, he actually parked the Lexus at the airport too, and he was supposed to take an Uber so they wouldn't have to pay for parking.
Right.
So every dime they had, almost every cent was already paid. Like somebody was there with their hand out already waiting for the payment. So
yeah. Cherokee says, Nicole Atkinson friends with Shanann's mom first. I heard, yes, that is correct. And again, Cherokee, when you, after this live, you go back and you want to re-listen to it, in her interview that's at the beginning, you'll hear all that. Also, if you want to hear her entire video, I'm going to link it down below after this live. But I just put the most, what was pertaining to what we was talking about tonight into it. Her actual interview is like an hour, 40 minutes, but I just took clips of that pertain to what we were talking about tonight. And I do have that in there. So.
Does everybody remember the affair that Chris was supposed to have with Amanda? Well,
Yeah.
Amanda actually worked for Nicole Atkinson too. So,
Yes, she did. She did. I was just reading
do you
that
figure
last
that out?
night. Yeah, I was reading that last night too. I was like, yeah, I'd forgot about her until I was going back there to Discovery. I was like, damn, she worked for her too. That's right.
Yeah.
Geez, who else worked for Nicole, man? She employed a lot of people up in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, kids, I'll get that link down below, honey. Okay, y'all, I think if nobody's got any more questions, we've been here a little over 2 hours. We don't like to make it that much longer because it makes the replay for others a long time to watch it. So
Yeah. But thank you, everybody. We really do appreciate you guys coming in and all your support.
Yes, and again, thank the moderators, the new members. Thank you, Dave and Nellie. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for everybody coming today. Sorry I didn't have much to say. It's just been a long day.
Yeah, Nellie just got home. Like, she just got home, and then she was at the hospital, and I'm not going to tell you all of her personal business, but she's had a hell of a week. Bless her
She was
heart.
riding shotgun today, so
Bless her
wait till
heart.
next week.
And her medicine's still jacking with her, so let's all say a prayer for Nellie, because
Well, keep my nephew in your prayers. That's why I was at the hospital. I can tell y'all that much. He was in a bad car wreck the other day.
oh my goodness, honey. Okay, we will. Everybody, please do that. All right, everyone. What, Nellie?
I said he's still in there, but he's doing better, little by little each day. But
good.
I'll send
All
you
right,
the
y'all.
pictures of the car.
Well, what are we going to talk about next week, y'all? At Thrive. No, we done did Thrive. What about medical, baby wise? Blah 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 blah. What do y'all think?
Oh, baby wise is disgusting.
No kidding. We should cover it
but there
though.
again, man, that's a good awareness. So, expecting mothers, they may be contemplating it, and who knows?
Yeah, I think we should cover that because that's
Yeah,
it's a touchy subject, but yeah, let's cover it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not a fan of it.
Oh
But,
hell no!
See, that baby wise would actually fit in with the sound machines, why they were so loud.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All that would go together. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how you'd work in the locks on the doors though, because that was another thing too.
Well, that's part of it too. You leave them alone and you do not go in there no matter what.
Yeah. I don't know if people knew about that either.
Yeah, there's a lot to that baby wise, a lot to it. And after she graduated from baby wise, she went into toddler wise, and that is a big deal too. And I don't hear many people talking about the toddler wise, but it's a big deal too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, thank you, everybody.
Is that what y'all want to talk about next week?
Yeah. Baby wise sounds good to me.
All right, I'll start getting it together ASAP, and y'all check out the Collier case too. I've been working on it pretty hot and heavy as well. All right,
we're still going to do a live about that one this weekend.
We are probably tomorrow night.
Okay, that sounds good.
Tomorrow night we'll do that one.
I'm off tomorrow, so I won't be tired.
Yeah, I think tomorrow night we'll talk about Debbie Collier.
Sounds good.
Her son Andrew has already hit our comments, right?
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
He's already watching us.
I saw that.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, y'all have a good day, night, evening, wherever you may be. And until next time, this is Unjustified. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave us a comment below on your thoughts of this video. And until next time, this is Unjustified.